Yo guys, what's going on? Today I'm going to be talking about the difference between weight loss and fat loss. You see, when people say they want to lose weight, what they actually mean is they want to lose fat. Now the reason why I'm making this video and making the distinction between weight loss and fat loss isn't because I'm trying to be super fancy and technical. Rather, it's because if you want to maximize fat loss, there are certain steps that you need to take to ensure that you are doing so instead of merely losing weight. So first and foremost, let's understand what that number on the scale represents when you stand on it. Your weight can be divided into two components: your fat mass and your lean body mass. Your fat mass is exactly what it sounds like. It is the amount of fat that you have on your body. Thus, you may have heard of many people who talk about body fat percentages. Your lean mass or your fat-free mass is all mass that excludes your fat mass, although lean body mass and fat-free mass are slightly different, but that's another conversation for another day. But anyway, your lean body mass then, which I'm going to be using this term instead of fat-free mass, includes your muscle mass, includes your water weight, your bone mass, your organs, etc. So the number that you want to go down the scale then is the fat mass. The issue though is that our scales don't tell us how much of our weight is muscle, how much is water, how much is fat, etc. Unless of course you pick up one of those fancy new higher technology scales that do, but not only are they much more expensive, but they're not 100% accurate either. More importantly though, there are certain things that you can do to ensure that you're maximizing fat loss and minimizing lean mass loss. Before I mention what those things are, I just want to make it clear that you will have to lose some lean mass in the process of losing that fat, but the aim is to minimize that lean mass to a point where you wouldn't even notice that you've actually lost any. So what are those things that you can do to ensure that you are maximizing your fat loss? The first thing that you want to do is you want to ensure that you're eating in a caloric deficit. A caloric deficit is where you burn more calories than you consume. And to get a rough idea of how many calories that would be for you is you can go on certain websites that have calorie calculators, or there are certain apps as well. But the most important thing is that once you go ahead and start eating a certain number of calories per day, you want to make sure you're staying consistent with those calories, and you also want to keep track of how your body is changing so you can adjust your calories if needed. Now, for argument's sake, let's say someone wanted to set out to lose as much muscle as possible. One thing that they would do is they would eat in a caloric deficit also. So I mentioned this because point number 2 is very, very important to ensure that you aren't losing so much muscle and that you are making sure most of that weight loss is fat loss, and that is you want to eat enough protein. Protein is often dubbed as the building block for our muscles, so you want to make sure you're eating enough to maintain your muscles as well. And the kind of bodybuilding rule of thumb when it comes to how much protein you eat is 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if someone weighs 150 pounds, then they want to eat about 150 grams of protein per day. And the third thing that you need to do is you must be weightlifting. If you want to preserve as much muscle as possible and ensure that most of the weight that you're losing is fat, then you want to train your muscles. In other words, you want to give your muscles a reason to stay on your body, and the best way to do that is making them work. So now I'm just going to give you guys a few bonus tips, if you like, which will basically help you measure your fat loss process. So the first thing is the scale. Even if you are specifically trying to lose fat, the weight on the scale should generally go down. But obviously, as aforementioned, this doesn't tell the whole picture. And another example to kind of just illustrate how it doesn't tell the whole picture is, let's say someone starts weightlifting. As mentioned before, you should be definitely weightlifting. And let's say they are new to weightlifting. If you're new to weightlifting and you are losing weight, then it's actually possible to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. And if you're doing that, then the scale actually might not move. Actually, there's a chance it might even go a little bit up. But that doesn't negate the fact that this person would be losing fat. A more accurate way then to measure if you're losing fat or not would be with a tape measure. Inches on your waist going down is more indicative of fat loss instead of muscle loss. But then last but not least, and the most important one, is the mirror, and also subsequently progress pictures. You should be looking leaner if you are losing fat. there are times when people lose loads of weight on the scale, but they don't actually look much better. They don't look leaner. Instead, they kind of just look like a smaller version of themselves, or they look very skinny. And the reason why is because they are losing lean muscle mass instead of fat mass. So make sure that you are looking at yourself regularly and that you are taking pictures as well. So I hope this video helped. I hope the distinction between weight loss and fat loss made sense, and more importantly, that these tips help you in your fat loss journey. And if you like the video, then drop a thumbs up and a comment, subscribe, and all this kind of thing. I'll see you guys next time.